Hey, thanks for tuning in to Shane Flynn Outdoors. This is our new Fish Chatter episodes. This is where we talk to other YouTube fishermen, ask them what inspired them to start sharing their YouTube content, find out a little bit more about them and their channel, and maybe even tell a fish story or two. Our guest in this episode is no other than the Michigan Fisherman. Check out this short clip. Thanks, Bryan, for coming in and doing this interview today. This is Bryan Piche from the Michigan Fisherman, and I'm glad that you took the opportunity to share some of your experiences with us. And hey, let's start off with you tell us a little bit about you and where you live and your fishing experiences.
Well, thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me on. I'm really honored. So my name is Bryan Piche. I currently live in Chesterfield, Michigan. I grew up in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. And as a child, I did a lot of fishing with my stepfather. We did a lot of like walleye fishing, bass fishing. He had a bass boat back then. And but as I grew older, I started a family, I got married, and I just kind of, not that I didn't like fishing, I just kind of grew away from it, kind of stopped for a while. And I completely stopped for years. And it wasn't until about a year and a half ago, a friend from work, he introduced me to kayak fishing. He told me he did it, showed me some photos. I'd never even thought about it. And I thought, that's a nice way to get away from the crowds, get away from the bank fishermen. Nothing wrong with bank fishermen. It's just, sometimes you want to be out there by yourself. And so I bought a cheap kayak, went out one time, and I just fell in love with it. And I've been addicted ever since.
Yeah. So you're out there kayak fishing. You're in some big water, I've seen. Is it, have you adjusted well to like setting on the water? You don't feel uneasy at all when you're out there on the kayak?
I mean, there are sometimes I do. I'm really fortunate. I live right next to Lake St. Clair. So it's one of the best fisheries in the world, especially holds some world-class smallmouth, world-class muskie, all kinds of, any kind of fish you can really think freshwater in there. So yes, the only downside with Lake St. Clair is, like you just said, when the winds pick up, those waves can get pretty intense. So there are days I can't fish it. And when that happens, I usually end up just going to places like Harson's Island or St. John's Marsh around here. Places that are protected, the reeds protect you from the high winds and from the waves. So those are like my main areas I really go fishing at. I like to target a lot of largemouth bass and smallmouth bass, especially out there.
Yeah. And some of your videos that I've watched quite a few of them. I mean, you do pretty well. You've got some nice smallmouth. You got a lot of nice largemouth, and you're a big fan of the whopper plopper. I've noticed. Oh, you like that topwater.
Yeah. In fact, not too long from now, I'm going to be doing a video with the best baits for me this year, and the whopper plopper definitely made my top 3, and especially in the second half of the year, like the last 3 months, it just nonstop action. The best year I've ever had with the whopper plopper. I used it last year too with minimal success, but this year it was a lot of fun using that whopper plopper, especially in that Loon 110 color.
Yeah, I mean it's always a blast when you see those big bass hit the top of the water and hit that top water. It makes for a lot of fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're out there on the, like you said, Lake St. Clair, and you got some of the marsh area. Are you looking forward, or in the next year or so, going to expand your waters, or are you just going to kind of focus on there around the house, around close to home, I should say?
The one downside from where I live is, as far as other inland lakes, it's quite a drive to get to those. It's usually about a 45-minute drive to an hour drive to my west to get to some nice inland lakes. So I do want to expand a little bit, but I'm just a little bit, I don't want to spend half my day driving as well. If I know the area is going to be real good, I don't mind making that drive, but I'd hate to make an hour drive and it not even be a very successful trip out there.
Yeah, I get it. You want to maximize your time on the water. I do that a lot. Right. I got 2 lakes close to my house that are 15 minutes away. And, if I get 2 hours in the afternoon, I mean, I've shot a lot of my videos, getting off work when I'm working from home and running to the lake for a couple hours. It's just, if you got to drive an hour, that's an hour you lose of fishing. So I totally
correct. Yes. especially with my kids. I try to do a lot of my fishing and get home before the kids get home from school. So, I got to be there to pick them up on the bus. So I don't think my wife would appreciate it. If the kids are walking home by themselves, they're only 5 and 7, walking home by themselves while I'm out there on my kayak, so,
Yeah.
got to get back, make the wife happy so that I get to do as many trips as I can throughout the year,
Yeah. Happy wife, happy life. That's what they say.
Correct. Right? Yeah, exactly.
All right. One of the things that, it's cold in Michigan, right? I've been fortunate. I've been up there a few times. I've never fished in Michigan. So are you going to do any type of ice fishing this year, or do you just call it quits during the wintertime?
So I haven't gone ice fishing since I was probably in my mid-20s. It's been probably 15 years or so since I went ice fishing, but that is, especially with the channel now, that's something I'm going to definitely be doing. I've been looking into getting a second camera to have different angles, as well as a underwater camera, so you could see the jigs and see perch hitting those jigs. So I thought, I haven't purchased it yet, but I asked the wife for one of those for Christmas, so hopefully I get that. I'm sure I will. I don't ask for much, so hope to have a couple different camera angles, and that, especially that underwater camera with the fish. I thought that'd be a really nice addition to the channel. So I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of ice fishing, but I'm pretty green at it. I don't know what I'm really doing, so I'm going to be watching just as many YouTube videos as I'm shooting, trying to learn about it.
Yeah, well, I'll be excited to watch it. I've ice fished in Alaska, North Dakota, Minnesota. I would say at the time I enjoyed it, but at 50 years old, I get a little cold now. So,
right.
I'm excited. I hope you get out there and I'll be watching every episode. But I will say I caught a lot of fish on the ice. When I did.
I don't have a lot of warm gear. That's the only thing I'm going to have to get. I was thinking about using. I have a little hunting pop-up Ameristep doghouse blind. I was asking locals around here. I'm like, can I get away with using that? And they're like, well, if it gets windy, you're going to have some problems. But I think I might try to get away with that and stake it in and just see, because I don't know how much I'm going to like it, but I don't want to spend all this money on a shanty and all these other things if I don't even like it. So I have a little bit of gear. I need to buy some more gear, and then I'll be all ready to go.
Awesome. Well, then I'm going to guess after ice out, you'll be right back out there getting after the fishing then.
Oh yeah, I'll be out there probably end of March, April time. You're talking about as far as back on the kayak?
Yeah.
As early as I can. As soon as that ice thaws, I'm going to be right back out there on the kayak. That's some of the best times of the year. Early spring. During the spawn.
Yep.
So I'm excited to get back out there again.
So what time of year, like date wise, do you see the bass spawning up in Michigan? So mid-May.
I'd say late April, early May. At least it was this year. I remember because I was on vacation down in Florida, and I was checking fish brain and things like that, and all of a sudden I see everybody in Michigan start hammering a fish up here while I'm down in Florida. And yeah, I was having a little bit of fun catching a few peacock bass down there, 1 or 2 peacock bass. But then I'm freaking out watching everybody on fish brain going out having, 40, 50 fish days in 2-3 hours. I'm getting, I'm in Florida. I'm having the time of my life with my family, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, how many fish am I missing up there?
Yeah.
So that's about usually, late April is when the spawn really hits around here, I'd say.
Yeah. I spent some time in Minnesota, North Dakota, around Grand Forks, which is on the Minnesota, North Dakota line. And I do all my bass fishing in Minnesota. And the 1st of May, end of April, and they have a fishing season. You can't keep any of the bass until after 30 June. Maybe it's the same in Michigan, but I would just slay them. I mean, have those 50 and 60, catch days and, the 1st of May timeframe. So I know what you mean. When they're hitting hard, when they're hitting up north, when the water warms up, they are really hitting.
Yeah, and it doesn't even really matter what you throw. You could throw pretty much anything at them, and they're going to hit it. It's a good time of year to throw crankbaits and stuff like that too. As far as there's no weeds in the way, so
yeah,
you're really unlimited to what you can do in the spring. That's another thing I like about the spring.
Yeah. So you kind of led into my next question for you. I have a comfort bait. I got a couple of comfort baits that I like to throw, and if you watch my channel, one of them is a spinnerbait. It really isn't, but it just happened to be this year. So right. If you're going to go out there and fish, what's your comfort bait? What you going to throw first?
First thing I'm going to throw usually the Ned rig. I've just been doing really, really good with the Ned rig. I use the Z-Man TRD, the Finesse TRDs, especially in the color of the deal. It's just, I just do really well. It doesn't matter what body of water I use it on. Same thing with just a 5-inch stick bait. Doesn't matter the brand. It could be the actual Senko. It could be a shimmy stick from KVD. A 5-inch worm is usually a good confidence bait for me as well. Which is funny because until last year, I had hardly ever caught fish on soft plastics.
Wow.
And then it's just something clicked. You get, and like you said, that confidence, and that is a big part of catching bass. Is once you're confident in a lure, something about it, you just start catching more fish on it. So. And I'd say the last one would be the Whopper Plopper, just because I had so much success with it this year. I don't have a lot of success with it in the spring, but more summer, especially night fishing, and then in the fall, I've been having a lot of success with that Whopper Plopper.
Yeah, the topwater bite starts about typically midsummer into fall. It really works out good for you.
Right, and it's funny you're talking about the spinnerbait, because that is one. I mean, I caught one in November on the spinnerbait, but I know it's a great bait for bass. I know it is because everybody tells me it is, but apparently I don't have the confidence in it. I mean, the biggest bass I ever caught this year was on a spinnerbait, but I think I only caught like 3 or 4 bass on the spinnerbait. It's just a confidence thing. I'm sure once I learn how to fish it better, I'll do really well with it. But as of right now, I've not figured it out yet.
Yeah,
but I hope to soon.
Yeah, it's just something I grew up. I think because it had a single hook. When I was growing up, my dad, that's the first thing he put on my fishing pole,
Right.
I wouldn't throw treble hooks around. But I will tell you, every bass that I caught over 5 pounds this year was on the spinnerbait, all my big bass. So
yeah, I only had the one. I don't know if you saw the video where the biggest bass I caught of the year, I was, all these kayak fishermen, we're always getting the length. I don't know why everybody's worried about the length, and so I put, got it on my board, I'm getting the length, and the thing flopped off before I could get the weight. And I just purchased a scale like the week before, It's like usually people don't have the scale. I literally just purchased a scale and I didn't use it, and it flopped off. But that was probably about 5 pounds. And yeah, my biggest one of the year for sure. And on a spinnerbait.
Yeah. I did see the episode. It happens, right? You're on the kayak, you only got so much room. And when they go to flopping,
I learned though, next time I get something like that, I'm going to get my photo. I didn't even get a good photo with it. I'm going to get the photo and then get the weight, and then maybe, if I have time, get the length, but that should be the last thing to do.
Yeah. Well, hey, let me ask you this, and then we'll. I got one more question after this, but tell me what your most epic fishing day has been. What's the biggest fish? When I say epic, most catches, biggest fish. What's the most memorable fishing day that you can remember? Tell us a fishing story.
So, definitely the most epic day I had. I started filming last year. My wife gave me a camera last year, and I filmed like one episode. It was just nothing great. I put out one episode, and then this spring was the year I was really going to start this YouTube adventure. And so the very first day I take my camera out in the spring, I just have a day where just nonstop action from one of the first few casts all the way to the end. I think I caught 40 to 50 fish that day. I was out on Harson's Island. The weather was just gorgeous, and while I was out there, I saw another kayak fisherman that I had seen on YouTube previously. And I'm just like, wow, this is my first day that I'm going to be, starting this YouTube adventure. And I just absolutely slayed him from start to finish. And it was just a terrific time out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great when you can, when a plan comes together, right? You get out there, you film and you catch all those fish.
Right.
So you just never know, but it's great when a plan comes together. But a lot of people, they see our videos and they think we're always catching, right? But it's not that easy. We have some great days, but sometimes the 6 or 7 fish you see on video is the only 6 or 7 fish we catch, right? So but
and I did have a couple. This was a really great year for me, but there were a few days, I'd say like 3 or 4 absolutely terrible days where I just got skunked, and I think I posted one of them on there just to show people, it happens.
Yeah.
I caught one in a net that was swimming next to me, but that didn't count. And it happens, So when people are watching these videos, don't think we slay them every single time, because we don't.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. I have fun even when I'm having a miserable day, as long as I catch a fish or two.
Yeah. I think I commented on that episode. said, am I skunked or not? I was like, yeah, you're skunked.
Yeah. Thanks. You're like one of the 3 people out of 50 that said I was skunked. But no, I appreciate it. No,
Yeah.
I understand it was a skunk for sure.
Well, Bryan, tell us a little bit about what we can expect. We talked about maybe some ice fishing in spring. Tell us a little bit more what we can expect on your channel. And if you got any other things going on, go ahead and tell us about it.
So yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of the ice fishing in the winter time here. So I'm really excited about that. And another thing you can see when you come to my channel is it's not just me out there fishing and not explaining anything. I started doing YouTube because I was watching a lot of YouTube videos because I wanted to learn how to catch some fish. Last year was a terrible year for me as far as catching fish, but I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I learned a lot of things. So that's something I'm starting to incorporate more in my videos. I'm starting to show the baits I'm using more, techniques I'm using more. And then next spring, when I start going back out on the kayak, I'm also going to have I mentioned I was going to get another camera. I'm going to put another camera on the front of the kayak so you can see me more. You can see more of the technique, maybe how I'm moving the rod, stuff like that. So but my main goal, I like going out there. I like having fun. I like catching fish, but I also want to teach the people watching the videos, how they can have better days out on the water as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what I've noticed over my first year doing this is you get better as the year progresses. And I've watched you this year. I started catching you when I started doing my videos, and progressively your videos have gotten much better. Because you learn as you go, right?
Right.
And I'm sure your second year will be much better than your first year. Just from learning from what to do and not to do. It'd be interesting to see the camera angle from a different view on the kayak. That would be different. I'm excited to see that in the future.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just more personal. When you get to see me more, kind of like when you watch like Titus's page or your page. You actually get to see the person fishing. That's the one thing I felt was kind of lacking with my videos this year. So I definitely want to get another camera angle so the people watching the videos can see me a little bit more than just at the front and at the end of the video.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And Bryan, I'll tell you, I enjoy your channel. Every time I see your episodes pop up, I watch them pretty quick. So thanks for putting out a lot of great content.
And the same with you, Shane. I really enjoy watching your videos as well.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks again. And everybody, if you get a chance, go check out the Michigan Fisherman. His link to his channel will be in the comments below. And again, Bryan, thank you for doing this interview with me.
And thank you, Shane. It's been a pleasure to be here.